Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today I'm excited to be talking about possibly one of my favorite games to ever bless my eyes on the Meta Quest. I mean, this game has absolutely blown me away. I've only had access to it for a few days now, but I have loved every second of it. I have brought back so much childhood nostalgia playing this game, I don't even know where to start. So before I start with anything, I'd just like to say, yes, today the game we're talking about is Bricktales. Yes, this is an official LEGO title, and yes, I absolutely love it, and yes, this may be close to a perfect game, and I mean that sincerely. This is not a sponsored video or anything. I just love this game for everything that it is. On the screen now will just be gameplay of the first level, so if you don't want spoilers of even the first level, look away now. You can listen to this video, or you can just come back and watch this later. However, I'm not going to be showing anything beyond the first world just because I want you guys to experience that all yourself. So with that being said, let's hop straight into the review and address this title that I kind of clickbaited you with. I think the best plan of attack for this review is to do a little bit of an ice cream sandwich. Start with what I like, then go into some of the things that I don't like, and then finish with the things that I absolutely loved. So for starters, the art style, I mean, it's LEGO. It's classic LEGO. It feels like LEGO. It looks like LEGO. And I'm glad they committed to LEGO. I had a concern going into this that it wouldn't look great because it is running on a mobile processor. This is a Quest native game, and that's always a concern when coming out with new titles. I've recently been playing a little bit of Asgard's Wrath. You might see those videos coming up on my channel recently as well. And I can definitely tell where they cut some corners. Don't get me wrong, the game is beautiful. It's amazing. Asgard's Wrath is its whole own video, all on its own. But you can see where some assets were cut, where the edges of some assets are, and that's just what happens when you're dealing with a mobile game. So I was concerned going into this that the LEGO graphics wouldn't hold up to things like that on the Wii. I mean, I have so many fond memories of just how perfect all of the LEGO design works. I've been seeing memes recently of all the blue and yellow little one by one cubes that were used as economy in that game. I mean, it's so much nostalgia for that. So the fact that they were able to replicate that in VR just absolutely blows my mind. How I can actually see and interact with the physical LEGO landscape right in front of me in a way that's adventurous, and also a bit of virtual mixed in with my real love for physical LEGOs. Another thing that I think they absolutely nailed was the comedy. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not going to make you fall out of your chair laughing. It's not that type of comedy. This is also for a younger age demographic. This isn't for adults. This is a game for kids to play on the Quest 3. It's a fantastic game for kids. If I was a kid right now, I would absolutely adore the heck out of this game. Just down to the classic slapstick humor, our little robot companion guy, who kind of states the obvious. My favorite line from the first world is near the end, where the guy's like, "Oh my god, it's a cliff. I'm gonna die if I fall off." And the guy's like, "Well, actually, you're made of Legos, so you could probably survive a fall from this height." And he's like, but I still don't want to do it." And I mean, it's not something that's super funny, but it's good for what it's supposed to be, which is a kid's game. But now, unfortunately, it's time to start talking about some of the bad. Most of this is nitpick, so let's get started. For starters, there's like zero settings whatsoever. I understand that this game is made more for kids who aren't going to be working around in the settings, but there are zero. You open the settings tab and there are 4 options. One of the things you can click on is the credits tab, which is its own separate tab. I cannot change anything about my experience. I can't change the speed at which I rotate the board. I can't change the default orientation of the board. Now, this would be annoying in itself, but trying to record content in this game is an absolute nightmare. I cannot keep the frame stable as it's constantly moving the board to where I don't want it to be. Anytime an animation comes on screen, anytime there's a cinematic, a jump cut, anything of that sort, it instantly resets the board and also resets the scaling. I don't know why it was developed that anytime anything happens, it's going to reset how I want the board to be oriented, which there are a fair amount of cutscenes. I can usually get through about 30-40 seconds before I hit another cut screen or a loading time, and it's just a little bit rough, having to constantly move the frame back to where I want it to be. Another thing I found super annoying is I can't stick my head into the world. I mean, I can, but I also can't. Anytime you try and stick your head deep into the Lego landscape, it ends up resetting the board as if you were accidentally moving forward and not doing it on purpose. A lot of the game makes assumptions of what you actually want to have happen, and in those cases, it can be really frustrating to get the result. The only actual gameplay nitpick I have is the marking system. There were times, and it's embarrassing to admit, where I kind of got stuck. The one part in particular that I can point out is I talked to a guy, then the guy walked a little bit further, and to progress, I had to go talk to him again. However, I didn't know I had to go talk to him again, and so I was looking around for something I had to do. I knew I had to make a zip line, but I couldn't figure out how to get the zipline building prompt to show up, which I had to go talk to the guy again, but there was no clear indicator that that was supposed to happen. There's no highlighting, none of that sort. There are the zones where it tells you where you can build and stuff. However, I didn't see one of those where I thought I needed one, and I was either overthinking or underthinking. Either way, I couldn't fit my mind into the mind of a 6-year-old, and because of that, I got stuck for like 20 minutes because I walked back and forth through the entire map multiple times looking for a way to get this prompt to show up, and I just couldn't figure it out until I'm like, I'm just gonna go talk to this guy again. Maybe I missed something in the little talk to me, and I didn't, so that was a little bit annoying. But apart from that, the overall gameplay makes sense, it's well designed, it's thorough, and the puzzles aren't too challenging, and the way they integrate the building is also quite fun. Speaking of building, however, there's one thing that I absolutely hate. Why can I not control where my stuff gets built? I get to build my thing, but then the bridge is automatically put in where the bridge is supposed to go. I want to be able to place the bridge on the overall tiling. I think that would just be the icing on the cake to actually be able to take what you built and then place it into the world. The fact that that is done for you, even if it forces you to put it in a location, the fact that you don't get to physically put it there yourself is a little disappointing. But overall, the building implementation was just perfectly designed. But now I think it's time that we get back to the good. The fact that they chose to use a grid board-like system similar to the Demio system and then continue to put mixed reality on top of that was a fantastic choice. It really secured me to my play space and made me feel like I was playing with real Legos despite them being virtual. Being able to see the environment around me didn't actually add anything to the gameplay. However, it connected me back to my home. It made me feel less isolated than if I had the mixed reality turned off. The fact that they went for the simple board also was a great choice. All of the animations are smooth, and I mean really smooth. The only thing that's a little bit rough is when your character's walking up or down, which honestly makes sense for all the random terrain your character might be walking on. Having players make their own buildings means you have to account for different leveling, you have to account for different angles that the player might be walking up. Because you actually build ramps yourself, they can't just program in how it's supposed to walk on every single environment because it could change. And so the fact that they accounted for that and still were able to pull off a decent animation, honestly, is fairly impressive. I think the world choice is also great. Having simplistic worlds that are also so full of life is fantastic. I believe that this was a great choice. I mean, I would have loved to see a big named IP like what they did with the Lego Star Wars games. However, I understand this is their first push into the realm of extended realities, so it makes sense that they opted for just simple, classic brand Lego. The building in this game is just so darn satisfying. The way the pieces all snap into place is just phenomenal. I was concerned they were going to try and make it hyper realistic to the point where you had to make sure every piece was perfectly lined up, but it's not. The way they all click together is pristine. There is one mechanic, however, that I really like but also really dislike, so I'm just going to give it a net neutral, and that is the anti-gravity. None of the Legos have physics when you're in the actual building mode. When you're in the building mode, they don't fall down, they don't connect to one another, which can get annoying if you want to just move one block down. You have to move all of the blocks down individually. You can't just like take the top one or the bottom one and then move them all while they're attached, which is a bit of a bummer. However, I understand why they did that, and it sometimes is nice when I just want to swap out a block versus moving an entire set. The use of a homeworld hub situation is amazing. I'm glad they went for this approach because it also allows the sandbox. which the sandbox is great. You can walk around and buy different Lego pieces to use in your sandbox by collecting that environment's themed currency. In the case of the jungle, it's the bananas. And then along with all of the Legos that you can buy, you can also buy upgrades to your character. That way you can make them more customized. The overall customization is fantastic, and if they ever add multiplayer to this game, which they might do, I think that'll be absolutely perfect, as everyone loves customization in this day and age. All in all, this game is fantastic, and I'm gonna have an absolute blast playing through the entire thing. I can have the kids at school vouch for me. I was playing in class because I have a lot to do this week, and so I just had to get as much work done as possible. So any free moment I had, I mean, I literally brought my Quest 3 to school so I could play in class. The kids who are in my class, who, to be fair, do laugh at me, they also can attest to how happy I was when I started playing the game. I mean, my smile was massive every single time I did anything. When I picked up my first snail and there was the little message, I mean, all of that just brought me so much joy. I can't express in words how amazing this will feel for anyone who grew up in the 2000s, or even any kids now who are a fan of Lego. If you have a Quest 3, if your parents have a Quest 3, ask to play this game because you will love it. With that being said, if you'd like to purchase the game, I have an affiliate link down below that I would greatly appreciate you using if you do want to purchase. Subscribe if this video was entertaining and you want to see more, and leave a like if this was helpful. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Bye.